Hi everybody. Well, I've got a bit of a toy to play with this morning on my Saturday morning ride. My neighbour and friend Steve has lent me his Ducati Streetfighter V2 for the morning. So I thought I'd give you an old duffer's review on something like this. Far out of my comfort zone now, these sort of bikes, too sporty, too sort of, focused for me. But yeah, it's not going to help people who are looking to buy one because my mindset's different, but it's certainly going to give you a view of a nice VFR owner's view of a bit of a raw Ducati. So I'll be out for a few hours, 100 odd mile or so. I'll take in some twisties, some quick air roads and a bit of dual carriageway, just to give you an overall view of what I feel about these sort of bikes now. So hopefully I can get it done when I get back, but forecasted for rain, so it might be a bit later, but nevertheless it'll be posted up shortly. Okay, so I've had a great ride out on it, about 125 mile or so, various road conditions, like I said, some twisties, a bit of dual carriageway and fast air roads. Rained a little bit as well, so that added to the mix. But before I go into detail, let's look around the bike, because obviously one of the good things about Ducatis is the design and the quality of some of the fittings. So we'll have a look around it. Brembo M50s, I don't know what that means, but I know they're just a step down from the V4 version. I'll come on to them. Bit grabby at first, but not too bad. Don't like the way they do the master cylinders. That's very neat there, the Brembo tag. Although it still has what some people dislike, the plastic reservoir. Switches and everything are very neat. I quite like those stalks that the mirrors are on. Mirrors are average, so I'll mention that later. Nice dash that I'll fire up shortly. Just quite neat, isn't it? Just quite neat. I will start it up as well at some time in the video. It's quite loud, quite mechanical. Just the design on the pegs and the brake there, just neat, tidy. This is a bit weird though, look at this. Don't know how you're supposed to get at that oil filler cap, because that rear master cylinder's in the way. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Typical Ducati though, I guess. Nice little neat foot pegs, but my God, would you like to use them? Look where that rear seat is. Nicely finished rear wheel, paint-wise. The 90-degree valves, which is always nice, and that rail is just slightly offset. Can you see that? So it's narrow on this side and wider on the other side. I don't really know why they do that. Probably to get this rear sprocket in neater, something to do with the hub, but it's a nice trick look. I like that. Nice finish, that rear light, and it wrapped around there. I will put the lights on in the garage to get a view of that. Better view, should I say. V2 badge on the tank. I don't know if it's an extra that Steve put on, but it looks neat. Remember, it is the V2, the 955, I think it's 955cc, not the big V4. I think the VFR would get upset if I was testing a V4. Quite like that exposed shock, laid horizontally. It's a bit weird, but it obviously works. And there's the nice, just the nice fixings, fits and finish. The bolts, they're all very nice. And a bit of thought into that side stand as well. It's quite a nice slim design. All the suspension's fully adjustable. I did back it off a little bit to get it a bit softer, but still quite firm, as I'll come on to. You'd expect that from Ducati, wouldn't you? Sort of an aggressive headlamp cowling. Small, neat, tidy, but means business. So you can see, looks wise, it basically is just a V2 Panigale with the bodywork taken off and some flat bars put on. there's not a lot of difference. That seat's a bit thicker, I believe, than on the Panigale. But apart from that, there's not a lot of difference, and that's where it feels, which is what I'll come on to now. So the important thing, what's it like to ride? Now I'm going to make two sort of comparisons here. They're going to be very old school comparisons because, as I say, this review is about what I feel is a ordinary biker, a bit old school now, not what's it like compared to the competition. So it's not really going to help anybody who's looking to buy one of these if they're looking at other things. But I'm going to refer to two of my older bikes, the V-twin Firestorm and my Phaser V2, which at the time was a fast naked, but nothing at all like this. So just chuck some quick figures at you, okay? I'm not an expert on Ducatis, obviously. I believe it's just over 150 brake horsepower, which is only a couple down on the Panigale. It does about 74, I think. I'll put some figures here if I'm wrong. About 74 foot-pound of torque. But would you believe that maximum torque is way up at 9,000 revs, and that's exactly how this bike feels. Referring back to my Firestorm, it feels nothing at all like my V-twin Firestorm. It's got something called a Super Quadro engine, very short stroke, so it revs like hell, and quite honestly, all the power and everything happens right at the top end, and I mean right at the top end, above 8, something like a GSXR 750 type of thing. So you've really got to be revving the thing to get the best from it. And some people are going to find that exciting. For me, it's slightly hard work because I'm used to that super mid-range of the VFR. But I'll tell you what, when it gets up there, it really goes. You can't believe it's a V-twin when it's revving that hard. And even up to the limiter, it doesn't tail off, it just keeps going. I don't know what it would rev to. I think the limiter's around about 11. We'll just have a quick look at that red line. Yeah, red line there at 11. So the limiter's probably just after that. And honest, it's charging like mad at that point. No tailing off whatsoever. By the way, I can't go much into the settings on the V2 Streetfighter because there's that many settings on it. It's got that many aids, anti-lift, rear wheel lift, anti-wheelie of course, engine braking adjustments. It's even got some sort of slide control that limits the amount of slide on the rear wheel. That's going to be useful for me, isn't it? Yeah, it's got all the safety aids you could want. I think it's got just about what the V4 Streetfighter has. I don't know that for certain, but if it hasn't got all of it, it's got pretty much as you could ask for. Really good. Would I ever use it? Unlikely. So naked bikes. As I say, my only sort of experience with naked bikes was my previous Phaser V2, but that had a bit of a bikini fairing on it, of course, half fairing. This has nothing. And as I say, this thing, nothing at all like that. Nothing at all. When they say it's a Panigale with a fairing off, that's all it is. And the Streetfighter, that name Streetfighter, yeah, that sums it up. Because the thing is a bit brutal. It's a bit harsh for me. That ride is really firm for UK roads. I mean, our road surfaces are really poor. And gosh, do you feel it on this. It's a pleasure, though, when you get on a smooth bit of road. And that does take the edge off for me a little bit, you know, because I like to do a bit of distance. And I know it's not designed for distance. I know exactly what this bike's designed for. I'll come on to that in a minute. But, you know, getting to, say, a track day is probably going to be a bit frustrating at times. But when you get it down the open road and it smooths off, obviously it comes into its own. Of course it does. So I want to be careful not just to talk the obvious about the fact that it is a performance bike in a naked form. Because that's what Ducati wanted it to be. But the only thing that I find unusual is for a 1000cc engine, the way they have tuned it for that top end power. The mid-range is there, but it's not particularly strong. It's nowhere near as strong as my Firestorm V-twin, but the Firestorm V-twin had nowhere near that top end rush that this has got. It is really fast at the top end. However, it's got a bit of practicality. I mean, the actual riding position the pegs to the seat isn't bad. The seat's quite thick. It's quite firm, but it's not bad, and you can move about a little bit. The bar position I really like. I really like the bar position. And actually the mirrors for a Ducati, do you know, they're not bad. I watched 2 reviews, Lamb Chops and Michelin Fly, just to get a variation. They both complain about the mirrors, and yeah, they do vibe a bit, but they don't vibe as much of Ducatis of old, and they were usable, you know, they were usable. So performance-wise, yes, I've said you really need to rev it to get the very best out of it, and then it really goes. The thing is, it's ripping your neck off by then. That's the only issue. Handling-wise, I get the handling on this bike. I really do get it, and I get why it's got so many safety aids, because the power's set so high up. But I have a nice stretch of road around the North York Moors, in the Vale of York really. It's only a stretch of about 2 miles, and some nice bends on it with some little straights in between. And it's an ideal area to judge handling. And normally when I'm on a bike, I don't know whether if I'm going my fastest, I'm probably only at about 70% of what the bike can actually do. There's probably another 30% in it. However, with this, I felt like I wasn't even halfway through what it was capable of. Some of the bends and some of the corners I was taking, I felt like it could have done it at least twice as fast, even more. It's so stable, and it flicks in, and it's actually got quite a high centre of gravity, so it actually tips in quite aggressively. But what you find is, compared to the VFR, you just don't have to lean it over as far to get the same speed around the corner. I have a particular bend which I use to scrub my tyres in when I got new tyres, and I normally go around at about 45 to 50, and it gets rid of a chicken strip nicely. But on this thing, felt like it was hardly tipped over. It would just whiz round easily. So I'm waffling on a bit now, I feel. I'm trying to get to a conclusion on it, and this is what I'm going to come up with. If you are somebody who enjoys your VFR, say, remember this is coming from a VFR owner's point of view. If you're somebody who enjoys your VFR or your sports tour or whatever type of thing you have, and you fancy something else in your garage, we all have those times where we say, oh, if it was this type of day, or if I was going there, I'd prefer this particular type of bike. Where would this fit in? Well, I think you would have to either really love the looks of it and just purely love the ownership of it, or you really like your daft half hour or your daft hour or your track day. You need that buzz, because that fix, shall I say, because this will give you it. This thing is a race bike. You know, I hate to say it's a race bike with lights, but it just feels like a race-bred machine, and to get the very best from it, you've got to be in a situation where you can use all of the performance, because that's what it feels like to me. Above 8K, that's where it's happy. That's where it wants to be. And on the road, and at my age, that now is just a little bit too much for me. I don't think I could live with it, but I tell you what, it's been fun trying it out. Let's have a listen to it. Let's just have a look at those clocks, and I'll try and put a bit of info about the tech and the figures on screen. Okay, so remember these Ducatis, they are quite mechanical sounding. Always sound better with a can, but this is just the standard can. Let's switch it on. And no doubt it'll have that usual lazy Ducati start where you think, is it going to start? That is in neutral, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Definitely mechanical. Some might not like it, but it's purposeful. Still a bit cold, so I'm not going to regulate more. So undoubtedly better with an end can on, but nevertheless it's an angry sounding bike, isn't it? Let's have a look at these rear lights. Get that peg out of the way. They're beautiful then, aren't they? It's what Ducati are really good at, design. Quite like the way they light up in there as well though, you'll never see that. And the lovely DLRs at the front, really neat. There's all the settings on the dash, that's what I've been riding with. No idea what it means. Is that electronic brake control? Engine braking controls on 1. Is that high or low? I don't know. Quite heavy, the engine braking, quite strong. Traction control on 3, ABS on 2. And is that wheelie control on 1? Yeah, I'm in sport. I prefer it in sport actually. Yeah, prefer it in sport mode to road mode. Just felt the throttle was a lot nicer. Didn't try wet. So there we have it. Ducati Streetfighter V2. As you can see on the pepperoni adverts, it's a bit of an animal. Catch you later. Bye. Oh, would you believe I forgot to mention my favourite feature. The auto blip on the downshifts is fabulous. The quick shifter generally is very good, but the auto blip on the down, particularly at those high revs, when you're really going for it, you bang it down around 7,000-8,000 revs for a bend. Absolutely fabulous. Really enjoyed that. Below 8,000, it was okay, but I tell you what, really coming into its own at high speed. Love that. Bye again.